You know, it's always been kind of a joke that I'm cursed, so when I do new stuff, more news comes out, and then even more comes out. But man, it just seems like it's true. There is this monstrous drought of news forever, and then the second I go, you know, there's a couple things here. I know, I'll do some shorts covering what little there's been, so that way I can at least do something about these. And then like the second of 4 videos post, and it's like irony itself hit the big red button to open the floodgates, and now there's a ton of leaks and reveals that just poured in. I was going to do something else today, but there's just too much here to ignore. So let's take a look at the leaks and reveals. But first, your likes. Please give and maybe subscribe. And also, the channel turns 5 years old in 1 month, and I'm sorry to say that I've had record low subscriber growth this year, so here's hoping that we can push it a little higher than it has been in this last stretch. Alright, going in no particular order, young Alpha Trion just got announced, and if there's a figure I never thought that we would see get made, it's him. Like, yes, the character has kind of been coming up in the world recently, getting more figures in probably the last 3 years than the character has ever gotten up to this point combined, but still, Alpha Trion before he grew a beard was not even on my 2025 bingo card. I had considered the idea as being cool before, but I just never thought it would happen, and I didn't think that if it ever did happen, it would actually look this good. I'm not sure if this is an excessively retooled 86 Scourge, an excessively retooled Siege Reflector, or entirely its own thing, but no matter what, it's definitely changed enough if it is a retool to be its own thing. And to be clear, it's not like being a retool is necessarily a bad thing, it's just that when a figure isn't different enough from the other version of it, it's like, why would I get this when I already have that? I think this probably isn't one, but there are some very reminiscent features here. But no matter what, this actually looks pretty great. I mean, the alt mode is kind of bullshit. I like what they did with the paintwork, and it does have a cockpit of sorts, which I appreciate, but it is one of those classic Cybertronian alt modes that's just a space object. Revenge of the Intergalactic Surfboard. But the sculpt is great, the paintwork looks to be gorgeous, and I can't tell you how much I love the detachable clear Autobot symbol, or why I love that so much. But that is one of the coolest gimmicks I think I've ever seen. Though I can guarantee you that if there isn't some way of getting at that peg from behind, it is going to be a bitch to get out of there. Then there is Micronis Prime, and the nice way to phrase this is that it's different and interesting. The true way to phrase it is that this is very weird, and I don't really know what they're going for. Okay, so like, Micronis is a clear accessory similar to 86 Rewind, who turns into a disc that looks like the Minicon symbol, but is slightly different from it, that goes with, I guess, a drone motorcycle thing that doesn't look like anything whatsoever, that probably can't stand on its own in alt mode, and Micronis doesn't seem to interact with that thing in any way that I can tell from these pictures. Though maybe he's like inside of the torso, and they also come with this other clear piece, which I guess is supposed to be important, but it just looks like the wheel from a toy that you peg into the center of the drone thing. Like, that's cool for some reason. And the drone thing is interesting and kind of a lot of fun, but they didn't really try on the face. And it looks more like a Bionicle than it does a Transformer. None of this is necessarily bad, but it's also like so damn weird. Well, the head kind of is bad. That needs a bit more sauce. Plus, it's got like rotors on the back, which I don't think were on the alt mode, but probably they have something to do with the tire being able to spin. If that's the case, then this is totally going to parts form, and you know I'm not a fan of that. I can give them props here, however. They are trying something very different, and it is interesting. I can totally see this winding up as a failure, but I appreciate them taking a really oddball shot here, and no matter what, I am fascinated to get my hands on this and see what it's like. Then we've got Firefight, and this is clearly just a retool of the excellent Slingshot mold. So basically, by default, this is going to be the superior figure. He's got the superior color scheme, and he's got the less stupid head, and that's great, because that figure was already one of the nicest surprises of the first wave. It's a little boring that it's pretty much 100% the exact same thing with a different head and a new paint job. They did at least try more, making the dead end and drag strip on the Minosaur different, but at the same time, the dead end was a massive downgrade over the drag strip. So when the base figure was already this good, I don't begrudge them reusing it here. Now what I absolutely begrudge is Skydive here. The second fuggliest dude of the group is getting made out of the team's worst mold. Air Raid was just bad. Honestly, not even really an improvement over the Combiner Wars, because while it does have some robot mode foot articulation now, the combined mode is just a calf muscle that you never see, made out of a balled up jet. The transformation was dull and the alt mode was pathetic. So a new version of that on an uglier dude is going to have all of that thing's faults and not even have the positive of the fact that Air Raid didn't cause physical pain to look at. And this dude's got a face like Ron Perlman's Beast if he caught you trying to sneak out a rancid fart. So he's even got a bad case of the 80s sickness. This may be pathetic and lame, but at least it will always be better than the Legacy Wild Rider mold. Then there's Flatline, and it looks really good. Outside of some overstrong tolerances, the Armada Red Alert mold was great. It's just... this is like going to sound insane coming from me, but I just wish that this was the movie version. I know, literally like every other time in the history of the universe, I've not wanted the movie versions of these characters. But this is like the one time where I'm like, yeah, the movie version was the cooler one. And look, I have to be honest, this is a cool looking figure based on a good mold, but this is like the least cool version of this dude. Like the Bay guy looked psychotic, but as a medic, that just made him interesting. And then there was the IDW version, which was also just way more awesome than this. To be fair, those are both top tier designs, but it doesn't change the fact that this is the least awesome version that they could possibly go with. They did paint the back windows on this, so that is something that this will have for sure over the original mold, outside of the black and red color scheme. Always a crowd pleaser. Then you've got Insecticon Venom, or I guess Venin now. And holy crap, what is this? A deluxe Insecticon with its own mold that's not reusing like anything from any of the others? Even if this thing winds up being bad, they will at least have tried a whole lot more with it. Which outside of the hollowness in the forearms, I don't even think that this looks bad. Why did they phone in the standard Insecticons so hard, but actually try at all with the other deluxe Insecticons, and a whole lot with this one? This looks pretty damn good. Like characters anyone cares about? Nah, don't spend a dime designing those. Characters that only Alex Lemons knows? Oh, we gotta put top dollar on these. I actually really want this, and I've not wanted one of Hasbro's Insecticons for a while. Also, honestly, it's kind of genius that the alt mode head is just the normal head upside down, and he reminds me of those crappy old generic Insecticon toys that they used to sell in bulk packs at Toys R Us. Who else remembers those? Then we have the Sandstorm and Slugslinger 2-pack. And I'll be honest, skip. Before getting back into the fandom, I was one of Titan's Return's biggest haters. And then how awesome it was is actually what really brought me back into the fold. And now I'm one of its biggest evangelists. Titan's Return was an awesome toy line with great figures. And while I think almost every one of them could have been done so they still transformed with the Headmaster attached, even while keeping the Headmaster separation gimmick intact, I don't even resent it for that anymore. Titan's Return Slugslinger is still one of the lamest piles of shit I have ever handled. 1, he's got a terrible name that is both no fun to say and dumb sounding. 2, he has like a 3-step transformation that does absolutely nothing you haven't seen a billion times before, and is honestly doing the worst versions of those things that you've already seen. 3, it is remarkably easy to damage the figure thanks to certain steps of the transformation, and 4, he's just a dull-looking dude. This is like background we didn't put in any care or consideration Decepticon. The most basic of boys. And then he's paired with the uglier version of Sandstorm, whose face doesn't look right, so why even give him the horrible face instead of the cool faceplate? But who knows, maybe they fixed the chest not tapping in at all. I can tell you that I don't really care to find out after the previous one's pathetic showing. How do you let a figure with a torso that under no circumstances holds itself up for anyone out the door? Also, for a triple changer, it really wasn't fun, and the buggy mode was one of the biggest pieces of crap I've ever seen. Then there's the comic edition Skyfire, who barely featured in that Void Rivals issue. But you know what? Siege Skyfire ruled. Best commander they've made, and I will fight you if you say otherwise. And these new richer reds, whites, and blues all look fantastic. I'm very excited for other people to get another shot at this mold. Then there's the Age of the Primes 4-pack, which doesn't seem to have any other name. Well, that's crushingly lazy, but the pack looks like it's probably really good. The Missing Link at Home Ultra Magnus looks pretty tasty in those colors, and maybe this version won't feel like it's going to break every 2 seconds when you're holding it. I do think it's a really bad move to put Bumble Jumper in here, though not because I don't want one, but because he's supposed to have Cliff Jumper's body, so we need to wait on a retool for this to make sense. Though at least 86 Bumblebee is a great mold. I kind of hate looking at Horri-Bull, because, man, that is just a dude in a thong with go-go boots. Seriously, my guy, get more colors in that chest area. Not like that. It's probably an okay figure, it's just damn those colors don't do it any favors. But what's done huge favors is the animated Nemesis Prime, who looks rad as hell with his higher teal content. Plus, he's got the battle mask, which really fixes my issue with that version of Optimus, as he is now how all Optimuses should be. Faceless and happy. I think that this box set looks pretty great too. Then there's the MTE collection, and I'm not exactly sure what this is, but it's got Devastation Sideswipe, which is just the Earthrise version of Sideswipe with cel-shaded windows. The box art looks cool, but he doesn't look like the box art at all. And also, why the Red Alert teddy bear ears there? Then you've got the seemingly unchanged Gamer Edition Optimus. This looks 0% different. Why? When the Gamer Edition Megatron, also coming out in the same line, has a different, more interesting head sculpt. At least I think that's a different head. Is the light playing on it just kind of weirdly, or is it just that I'm crazy? Then there's MTE Wheeljack. Fuck Earthrise Wheeljack. Fuck it to hell. God, this is such a letdown to see again. It is for sure in better colors, but a Devastation Wheeljack should not just be a repaint of the worst figure Wheeljack has ever gotten. God, I hate this version of the character with a fiery passion. From there, Transformers 1 Starscream looks pretty excellent, though his gun is kind of hideous. He's got his null rays, so why even bother with this thing? The new Tetrajet design is awesome. I honestly really think this looks sick, and probably like the best studio series for this movie so far. Helps that it's not undercut by a better version of it coming out for a cheaper price in the main line first. Lastly, Dramatic Capture, Reflector, and Thundercracker. And from a new Seeker mold that I'm really happy to see to an old Seeker I'm pretty much just as disgusted as I am with Wheeljack to see, even if this does look like the best version of this mold ever released. I'm still tempted to get this set even though I already have a full set of reflectors, just because this version of them looks so good. And I really do want the extra accessories to complete the look. Honestly, if these guys were on their own, I would buy this set in a heartbeat, probably even for the same price. But with the Earthrise Seeker in there with them, it's like Takara is going, here, you throw this away. I just can't with that Seeker. It looks so bad and wrong and puffy with its tiny head, funky proportions, and the nose cone on the back. Plus, the jet mode looks like ass. The parts of Earthrise everyone was all about were terrible, and the parts that everyone was just like, that's fine, were the actually good chunks. And now I think that this video has run on long enough, even though there were technically more reveals and leaks. Let's hold off on those and cover them at a later date. And honestly, this is all some pretty cool and exciting news. I want 90% of what I saw here, which is pretty rare. They look awesome and fun and unique, and it looks like Hasbro really tried with a lot of these, even the repaints for once. And before we go, let's thank a channel backer. And this time it's Pizza Steed with Black Mamba Tarn, which historically I'm really unimpressed with the Legacy Tarn, but the Black Mamba version of it does address a ton. No more is he this pathetic little manlet, but now the beefy engine of destruction here to rival the biggest guys like Grimlock. The paint job is also just so damn good on the Black Mamba, with the starker blacks and livelier purples. He just looks like he's dressed to kill, which would be a logical evolution for the powers of the guy who can talk you to death. He looks beefier and better in every way, and I really like what I see. And that's not half what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.